Welcome to Creating Custom Datasets. This lesson is part of Module 03, Data Preparation. Let's get started. Let's now look at Lesson 3.3, Creating Custom Datasets. Here we can see the data pipeline. Let's now look at Overview. Here we can see the data generation methods. Most fine-tuning projects require custom datasets tailored to your specific use case. In this lesson, you'll learn how to create high-quality training data from scratch, use LLMs to generate data, and apply data augmentation techniques. Duration, 45 minutes. Difficulty, intermediate. Let's now look at learning objectives. Here we can see the dataset quality rubric. By the end of this lesson, you will create custom datasets manually, use LLMs, Claude, GPT, Gemini, to generate training data, apply data augmentation techniques, understand quality versus quantity trade-offs, build domain-specific datasets, version control your datasets, know when to stop adding data. Let's now look at methods for creating custom datasets. Here we can see the instruction diversity. Let's now look at Method 1, Manual Creation, highest quality. Here we can see the manual creation workflow. Best for small datasets, 5,500 examples, critical quality needs. Let's now look at Method 2, LLM-generated data, fast and scalable. Here we can see the LLM data generation. Best for medium datasets, 500, 5,000 examples, bootstrapping. Let's now look at Method 3, data augmentation, expanding existing data. Here we can see the data augmentation techniques. Best for increasing dataset diversity, balancing categories. Let's now look at Method 4, human in the loop, hybrid. Here we can see the quality versus quantity. Best for large datasets with quality control. Let's now look at Method 1, manual dataset creation. Here we can see the domain dataset structure. Let's now look at step-by-step process. Here we can see the dataset versioning. Let's now look at Step 1, define your use case. Document your goals. Let's now look at Step 2, create a template. Template for consistency. Let's now look at Step 3, brainstorm categories. Aim for 20-30 examples per category. Total, 100-150 examples minimum. Let's now look at Step 4, write examples. Save as JSON-L, remove metadata before saving. Let's now look at Step 5, document your data. Create a metadata file. Let's now look at Method 2, LLM-generated data. Let's now look at why use LLMs to generate data. Speed, generate hundreds of examples in minutes. Diversity, create varied phrasings and scenarios. Scalability, easy to expand dataset quality, requires careful prompting and validation. Let's now look at using Claude, GPT, Gemini to generate training data. Let's now look at Technique 1, generate full examples. Prompt for Claude GPT, send to Claude API or copy to Chat GPT, then save the output. Here's the JSON-L code for this section, starting with messages, role, system, content. You are a helpful C. Let's now look at Technique 2, generate variations of existing examples. You write 5 10-seed examples, then ask LLM to create variations. Use the variations to expand your dataset. Let's now look at Technique 3, use LLMs to complete partial examples. You write user questions, LLM generates responses. Let's now look at Python script, automated dataset generation with OpenAI API. Setup, get API key from http://platform.openai.com. API keys. Generate for different categories, pass and save. Cost estimate, GPT-4. 1 per 10 examples, 500 examples, 050, 5,000 examples, 5 zeros using Claude, generally more verbose and higher quality. Here is the Python code for this section, starting with import Anthropic. Let's now look at method 3, data augmentation. Let's now look at technique 1, paraphrasing, same meaning, different words. Original augmented variations. This increases dataset 5x. Call LLM API here, return list of paraphrases. Let's now look at technique 2, input variations, change context. Original augmented with different contexts teaches the pattern, not just memorization. Let's now look at technique 3, synthetic error injection. For customer service, add typos, grammar errors, abbreviations before/after augmentation. Now model learns to handle informal input. Let's now look at technique 4, multi-turn extension. Original, single turn. Augmented, extended conversation. Teaches conversational flow. Let's now look at quality versus quantity. When to stop adding data. Let's now look at the diminishing returns curve. Here's the bash code for this section, starting with model performance. General guidelines, task type, minimum, good, excellent, diminishing returns. Was format teaching, JSON, 50, 100, 200, 500, style, personality, 100, 300, 500, 1000, new knowledge, 500, 1000, 5000, 10,000, complex reasoning, 1000, 3000, 10,000, 50,000. Let's now look at focus on quality over quantity. 1 excellent example. 10 mediocre examples. Quality checklist for each example. Clear and unambiguous input. Correct and helpful output. Represents your desired behavior. Free of typos and errors. Consistent with other examples. Adds something new, not redundant. Let's now look at when to stop adding data. Stop when. 1. You're repeating similar examples. 2. New examples don't add new patterns. 3. Model performance plateaus on validation set. 4. You've covered all major use cases. Add more when. 1. Model fails on specific types of inputs. 2. Validation loss is still decreasing. 3. New use cases emerge. 4. Model overfits, memorizes training data. Let's now look at building domain-specific datasets. Let's now look at example, medical Q&A dataset. Medical dataset structure. Key considerations. 1. Always include disclaimers. Cite sources when possible. 3. Avoid giving personal medical advice. 4. Use accurate medical terminology. Let's now look at example, legal assistant dataset. Here's the Python code for this section, starting with legal examples, charter. Let's now look at version control for datasets. Let's now look at why version your datasets. Track what changed between training runs. Rollback, if new data hurts performance. Document dataset evolution. Collaborate with team members. Let's now look at simple versioning system. Create version metadata, save dataset, save metadata usage. Let's now look at using Git for dataset versioning. In PowerShell, initialize Git repo, first time only. After adding more data, view history revert to previous version if needed. Let's now look at hands-on exercise. Let's now look at exercise 1. Create a mini custom dataset. Task. Create a dataset for a homework helper chatbot that explains math concepts to high school students. Requirements. 10 examples minimum. Use conversational format. System, user, assistant. Cover topics. Algebra, geometry, trigonometry. Explain step by step. Use encouraging educational tone. Template. ADD, 9 more examples here safe. Click to see 3 more example ideas. Example 2, Pythagorean theorem. Example 3, factoring quadratics. Example 4, sine, cosine basics, etc. Let's now look at exercise 2, augment an existing example. Task, take this example and create 5 variations using paraphrasing and context changes. Original. Here's the JSON code for this section. Starting with your task. Create variations by 1. Paraphrasing the question. 2. Changing the numbers. 3. Changing units, try meters, feet, etc. 4. Adding context. I'm planning a run. Click for solution. Paraphrase, different number. With context, reverse direction, different units. Let's now look at key takeaways. 1. Start small. 5,100 quality examples beats 1,000 mediocre ones. 2. Use LLMs strategically. Great for scaling, but always review outputs. 3. Augment wisely. Paraphrasing and variations increase diversity. 4. Version your data. Track changes between training runs. 5. Quality over quantity. 1 excellent example is worth 10 poor ones. 6. Domain-specific needs disclaimers. Medical, legal, financial domains need careful handling. 7. Stop when diminishing returns. More data isn't always better. Let's now look at quick reference. Dataset creation workflow. 1. Define use case and goals. 2. Choose format, instruction, conversational, etc. 3. Create 5 to 10 seed examples manually. 4. Use LLM to generate variations. 5. Review and edit all generated examples. 6. Apply augmentation techniques. Let's now look at knowledge check. Before moving on, make sure you can. 1. Create a custom dataset manually, 10 plus examples. 2. Use an LLM to generate training examples. 3. Apply paraphrasing to augment data. 4. Explain quality versus quantity trade-offs. 5. Version your datasets properly. 6. Identify when to stop adding data. Let's now look at assignment. Create a custom dataset for your project requirements. 1. Choose your domain, customer service, education, code help, etc. 2. Create 5,100 examples. Write 10-20 seed examples manually. Use LLM to generate 30-80 more. Review and edit all LLM output. 3. Apply augmentation. Add 20% more via paraphrasing. 4. Version your dataset v1.0. 5. Save as JSON-L with metadata file. 6. Document. What does your dataset teach? What's missing? Deliverables. My project v1.0 JSON-L. 50 plus examples. My project v1.0 metadata JSON. My project readme.md. What it does. Quality notes. Let's now look at what's next. You've created your custom dataset. Now you need to apply the correct chat template so your model understands the format during training. This is crucial for chat models. Continue to Lesson 3.4, Applying Chat Templates. Let's now look at additional resources. Awesome Dataset Creation, OpenAI Data Generation Guide, Anthropic Prompt Engineering, Data Augmentation Techniques, Argilla for Data Labeling, Open Source Tool. Completed this lesson? Mark it done. That wraps up creating custom datasets. Well done on completing this lesson. See you in the next one.